Let's be honest, nobody's perfect, and neither is the massive team behind all the Marvel films. Though they mostly do a bang-up job in all their movies, there are some mistakes they definitely thought we wouldn't notice. Little did they know, we have Hawkeyes, and we caught them all. Want to find out all the mistakes that Marvel tried to hide? Watch this video as we reveal new mistakes we caught in the MCU. But first, give Screen Rant a like and hit the subscribe button to be the first in the know on everything Marvel. Now let's see the mistakes Marvel thought we'd never notice. Black Panther, not so silent. Black Panther was Marvel's massive hit film of 2018 that wowed audiences far and wide, expanding the superheroes we know and love. But this incredible action-packed film didn't go without any mistakes. And let's be real, you can't blame them, because everything else was perfection. At the start of the film, T'Challa gets his silent shoes from his brilliant sister Shuri. The shoes are supposed to be silent when he runs. Interesting. However, halfway through the film, you can hear Black Panther's footsteps as he runs up the spiral ramp. A big oops from the audio department right there. Following this, we caught a couple continuity errors. When Claw is being rescued by Eric, he has a wound on his face. However, between shots, the amount of blood on his wound changes. It's subtle, but watch closely and you can catch it. Another mistake is near the end of the film, when Killmonger is about to kill Shuri. They're at the top of the mine shaft, and Shuri is backing up. Her elbow goes over the edge, but when the camera angle changes to a shot over Killmonger's shoulder, Shuri is at least a foot away from walking off the edge. Marvel, we may have caught those little mistakes, but we still can't wait for the next Black Panther film. Doctor Strange, the Dirty Surgeon. The beginning of the 2016 Benedict Cumberbatch film Doctor Strange shows his process as a surgeon, and it's all wrong. When he's preparing for a surgery, Strange uses improper gowning techniques, which would actually break aseptic protocol. Aseptic protocol is extremely important, as it prevents the spread of pathogens that cause infection. Strange puts on his mask after he washes his hands, which contaminates his hands as they go close to the non-sterile region of his face. Surgical masks are always put on prior to washing hands. Another factual error in this procedure is that Doctor Strange put his hands all the way through the gown to then put on his gloves. However, gloves must be put on with the sleeves of the gown still covering them. The surgeon's hands must never leave the gown until the gloves are on. Not everyone would notice these extremely detailed mistakes Marvel did not catch, but any doctor out there sure did. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. What footwear? In Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the opening is a sequence from the past with Kurt Russell and Star-Lord's mother. The film titles the flashback 1980s Missouri, with a nuclear power plant in the background with 4 towers. There is only one nuclear power plant in Missouri, the Callaway Nuclear Generating System, which only has 1 tower. So already there's an issue, but the most apparent fact is that the plant didn't open until 1984. So either we're on a different Earth or once again the fact checker wasn't present that day. During the same opening sequence, Ego and Star-Lord's mother walk through the forest behind the Dairy Queen. She's wearing boots with fur around the top as they go down the hill, but when they're standing next to the God plant, she's suddenly wearing sandals. Seeing as it was a sunny day, sandals were probably more appropriate. Ragnarok appearing objects. First off, when Thor is fighting Hela and Heimdall's soldiers in the forest, he swings his sword and the tree is cut before it even hits it. Not to mention that the soldiers on his right fall before the hit as well. Maybe they were just anticipating the pain they were about to feel. But we're calling out a hardcore mistake. Sorry about that. In another instance, when Thor and Hulk are fighting, Valkyrie sits watching while drinking. In the next shot, an object appears in her hand out of nowhere. Potentially powers? We think not. Just a mere editing mistake. Hey, could you hold this for a second? Thanks. Hey, does anybody's bike? Spider-Man Homecoming. Beer of the future. After Vulture, aka Adrian Toomes, and his crew lose the contract for the cleanup, they are back in their shop with beer. And not just any beer. The Stubby Coors Banquet beer. So what's the problem with this? Well, Coors didn't release this version of the bottle until 2013, and the scene in the film takes place before 2013. The stubby bottle shouldn't have been used to keep continuity with the times. Maybe Dr. Strange sorcered in some future beer bottles for them. But let's be real, it was just a mere set design mistake. Coors has been around since 1873, so they could have easily gotten an older model of beer bottle or can. Either way, this one probably was only caught by those hardcore Coors fans. Sorry. Thor took the wrong train. In Thor the Dark World, the entire film builds up to a major fight scene between Thor and his enemy Malekith the Accursed. During the sequence, Thor falls through a portal that brings him to London, England's Charing Cross station. On the train, a lady informs Thor that he needs to ride 3 stops to reach Greenwich. If you don't know London's intricate train system, that seems perfectly accurate. But the Charing Cross station is the terminus for the Southeastern Main Line, and the Greenwich stop is in the Jubilee Line. Basically, Thor wasn't even on the right train to get to where he was going. Marvel was caught red-handed with this mistake, and we're certain anyone from London watching the film caught this one straight away.
It's like Budapest all over again.
You and I remember Budapest very differently. The Avengers, the Killing Hair. Black Widow has been built up as potentially the next strongest Avenger. We're certain her roles in the films are going to continue to expand. In the Avengers, she is so powerful, in fact, her hair even killed somebody. Wait, that can't be right. Or can it? In the first scene where Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow is introduced to us, she fights off 4 bad guys all while being tied to a chair. Black Widow whips back her head in an attempt to headbutt the gangster. Instead, her hair simply brushes his face, which knocks him out cold. So either her hair is as deadly as she is, or more accurately, we're guessing the stuntman may have been a step too far back for the move to look right. Maybe her hair is a weapon we just haven't learned about yet. But we doubt it. This seems to be a classic Marvel mistake that we just happened to catch.
Hi, I'm Scott.
The Science of Ant-Man. Throughout the 2015 film Ant-Man, starring Paul Rudd, it's explained more than once how the shrinking from man to Ant-Man scientifically works. Or as sciencey as possible, that is. Pym particles function by reducing the space between atoms to shrink something, or increase the space between atoms to enlarge them. This ultimately means that the objects or person will weigh the exact same no matter whether they are larger or smaller. Now, this fact creates many mistakes in Ant-Man. First off, a 200-pound man the size of an ant would break through any surface he stood on because his weight is so concentrated in one tiny spot. Not to mention he would squish any poor ant he tried to ride on. Oh, and the tank that he has in his pocket? Yeah, that wouldn't happen. We don't know any human who can carry the weight of a 60-ton tank. As for Yellow Jacket, he lifts a full-grown sheep between his thumb and index finger. We don't think you're that strong. Also, the massive Thomas the Tank Engine would be way too light to crush a police car with all the weight distributed over such a large area. In fact, the tank engine would likely float away as it would weigh less than the air it displays. Whoa, did you follow all that scientific jargon?
I've been forced to join that lyric shop.
The mystery of sound. Going to see a superhero movie requires a large amount of suspension of disbelief, but there are some things that just feel wrong. Throughout the Marvel films, one of the big culprits of this feeling is the speed of sound. Most of us know that sound travels much slower than light. For example, during a storm we can tell how close it is by counting the seconds between seeing lightning and then the sound of the thunder. The further away the lightning, the longer the sound takes for us to hear it. However, this scientific truth seems to have no place in the MCU, or any other sci-fi film for that matter. We haven't even got to the fact that sound can't travel in space. In the opening of Iron Man, Tony Stark shows off some of his new technology, the Jericho missiles. We hear the explosion before we even see it. This is neither possible or accurate. In all the Thor movies, Thor causes a sonic boom with his powerful hammer, and the sound always happens exactly as the hammer hits, no matter how far away he is. Guardians of the Galaxy is the same, hearing all the lasers and explosions as they're happening. So, sure, we're willing to extend our disbelief, but come on. We all know how sound works, right?